From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. Tunji Disu sworn in as 23rd Inspector General of Police. Inaugurates State Police Implementation Committee. President Tinubu directs Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria to immediately suspend cashless policy amid nationwide gridlock. As Middle East tensions continue to escalate, U.S. issues another security warning over possible protests in Nigeria's capital.
In business, CBN raises gold reserves to $3.5 billion, marking a significant step in its reserve diversification strategy.
And in sports, Nigeria Super Falcons return home amid uncertainty over kickoff of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco.
All the details in a bit. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin tonight with the latest from the presidency. President Tinubu has sworn in Tunji Disu as the substantive 23rd Inspector General of Police at a ceremony held at the State House in Abuja. Disu took the oath of office in the presence of Vice President Shettima, ministers, security chiefs, and other top government officials following a unanimous endorsement of his appointment by the Nigeria Police Council last week. President Tinubu also administered the oath of office on newly appointed commissioners of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission and the Federal Civil Service Commission ahead of the first Federal Executive Council meeting of the year.
I'm bringing law and order to the table. Like I mentioned earlier, I've made up my mind to ensure that my officers get to know that we are working for the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the citizens of the country are our bosses. The committee was set up early this morning to look into the issue of state police from the angle of the Nigerian police. We don't want it to seem as if others are taking decisions and we, the most important people concerned, did not do anything. We want to ensure that the best thing is done. State police has come to stay, and the police should be able to contribute their own part in making it succeed. The police are not afraid. Our jobs are not being taken.
Meanwhile, the new Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, has inaugurated a 7-member committee to drive the process for state policing. The committee is chaired by Professor Olu Ogunsaki, with Commissioner of Police Bode Ojajuni as secretary. Other members include Okebuchi Ogora, Suleiman Guma, Okechukwu Okago, Tolulokpe Ipimiso, and retired Commissioner of Police Emmanuel Ojukwu. IGP says that their work will help shape the framework through which state policing will operate in the country.
This committee on state police we are inaugurating today has a critical responsibility. Your work will help shape the framework through which state policing may operate in Nigeria in a manner that strengthens rather than fragments our national security system. In carrying out this assignment, your deliberations must be guided by professionalism, objectivity, and a clear appreciation of the unique complexity of policing in a diverse nation like our own. Among other responsibilities, the committee is expected to review existing police models within and outside Nigeria, assess community security needs, and emerging risks amongst the country.
A former Assistant Director of the Department of State Security Services, Dennis Amakre, will be joining me much later for this conversation. The news returns shortly. The United States Embassy in Abuja has issued a security alert to American citizens in Nigeria, warning of a possible protest in the nation's capital today over rising tension in the ongoing U.S.-Israel-Iran conflict. On Monday, the U.S. government issued a global security alert to its citizens in Nigeria and around the world, urging them to exercise increased caution following the conflict in the Middle East. The advisory warned that the evolving security situation could affect travel and safety, including potential interruptions to air travel. The U.S. Embassy, again, in a post shared on X on Wednesday, informed its citizens that there is a high potential for protests in Abuja and urged them to exercise heightened caution. While the mission warned that previous similar demonstrations have resulted in violent clashes between the group and Nigerian security forces, it strongly recommends that all U.S. citizens in Abuja remain in their residence on Wednesday, March the 4th. For this conversation, we have with us in the studio Global Affairs Analyst Dr. Victor Okai. Thank you very much for being here. At first, people were saying, oh, it's far away, it's not close. It is here with us. Nigerians are stranded across the world, not just in Tel Aviv, you know, and then we have this situation at home where the U.S. Embassy is telling its people there's likelihood of protests. What are your thoughts about the play of events in the last couple of days, especially as Nigeria is coming into the middle?
It's closer than we know. It's already affecting us in so many ways. Yes, you're right about Nigerians that are, I mean, obviously you would find, because we're all over the world, you know, Nigerians that are stuck in various countries in the Middle East and all that. But that is only a small aspect of it. You know, obviously, that we're going to feel it in our pockets very soon. Because, yes, there will be a rise in the global oil prices as there is already. But that also means that eventually, because even in our refinery here, there are additives that we get from other parts of the world as well. And so what you're going to find is a situation where even the refined products are going to go up. It will affect air travel.
It's already up.
Exactly.
Earlier today, I saw it's 900 and something.
It's going to go over 1,000 very shortly. So it's closer than we know. But with what is happening, we have trouble in our backyard. Because obviously you know that the Shias in Nigeria, led by El Zakzaki, whose headquarters is in Zaria, Kaduna, Zaria, I think, they're funded from Iran by the Iranian, the Khomeini and the rest. So the oxygen supply is not just threatened right now because the death of Ali Khomeini poses an existential threat to them as an organization.
But the advisory that's being given, we've had a bit of protest.
Yes.
When in solidarity with Iran by this group.
Yes.
And there was no violence reported in that incident.
Yes.
So what could be bolstering the intelligence that the Americans are having? Should we be doubly worried that they're issuing such an advisory now?
Let me quote you from what you said earlier on. When you said, you know, that protests in the past, there have been clashes between them and the government.
No, that is part of the statement, and yes, we know there's evidence.
So the reason for that is that there's no love lost between that organization and the government. You remember when El-Rufai was in Kaduna, what was happening? Yes, they are Muslims, but they are not the best of friends with other Muslims. Let me put it that way. So when they come out like that, and because they come out in huge numbers, honestly, if you've ever encountered them, it can be scary. When they do the annual march, it's like the sheer numbers can be intimidating. And most governments would not feel very comfortable with that. And any violence can erupt and it can easily go out of hand if things are not properly managed. And so they have protested. They will still, I think, continue protesting. But it's not just them. Other Muslims as well, there are those who are not happy with the situation because they feel that what has happened to, in spite of the fact that even the heart of Islam, what you call it now, the custodians, Saudi Arabia, are against Iran. You know, all the GCC countries are up in arms against Iran as well. But so the situation right now is volatile and remains unpredictable. So it's better to just exercise caution, which is what the Americans are doing or advising.
So what about Nigerian government? So far, we know that the new Inspector General of Police has said officers will be deployed to forestall any breakdown of law and order in terms of the protests that were proposed earlier. But on a larger scale, considering what is happening, what are some of the moves you would expect the Nigerian government to be making now?
The first thing I'll say is the Nigerian government should not take sides. Because either way, you will be ruffling some feathers. So it's best that the Nigerian government remains unallied in this situation. Just stay neutral so that you don't ruffle feathers, okay? And if that is done, the policemen that should be assigned should be policemen who are properly trained in managing crowds, okay? And so if you get policemen who go out there and they want to exercise violence or deal with the crowds in a violent way, it will soon erupt and anything can result therefrom. So, and I think that it is important that they maintain very good intelligence as well, because that helps forestall any potential threats. And so if the intelligence network is very effective, they would know where the next moves are going to be and how to checkmate them.
All right. Let's talk about the impact this is going to have on citizens. Already, prices of fuel is going up. People are stranded around the world, and diplomacy seems to be falling down. How should Nigerians generally put to mind what is happening, react and plan, and perhaps find a way to buffer the challenges that is likely to come if there is no de-escalation? Okay,
I would usually say that with wars, you know the beginning, but no one can ever predict the ending. Someone asked me earlier today if this is World War III, and I said yes. Because already, what does it take? Even in the First and Second World War, it wasn't fought on African soil, but Africans were involved because of the colonial ties, strings at the time. The same thing is happening. Notice what Iran is doing. It's not going down alone. What Iran is doing is, today they've hit, what you call them now, Turkey, okay? Turkey has been drawn in. They were on their own. They drew in Saudi Arabia, drew in Bahrain, drew in Qatar and the rest by bombing all of them. So what they're basically doing is, look, we're not going down alone. They're bringing everyone in. And with what's happening, obviously, there's China on the one hand. Russia obviously has enough on its plate, so it's not going to get involved in this. Certainly not with its 2 feet in, because the Ukrainian trouble is enough. China is mindful of its relationships with America and might not get drawn in, but Iran is certainly not going down alone, and it is causing as much damage as it can. And what are the kind of damages that you can see? It's blowing up oil installations, it's blowing up so many critical infrastructure around the GCC country areas, and drawing people who ordinarily wouldn't have even been involved in this into the fray, and it's causing a lot of problems. So, but for us as Nigerians, I think that travels, this is one of those times when, because you cannot predict, there are people who are stuck right now, in some of these countries, so we should be mindful about our travels, and this is one of those times when east or west, all right, home is best.
Doctor, I want you to speak to rhetoric we should be watching out for at this time, considering how tensed everywhere is, and with the concerns over possible Shiite protests. What kind of rhetoric do you expect? What kind of rhetoric do you expect to hear from our leaders? In 30 seconds, if you can.
First, that we must maintain the peace. It's very, very important for us. What is happening right now is not exactly our business. And it's important to remind people that all kinds of people are involved in this right now. Like I said, Saudi Arabia, you can see that Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who are not necessarily the best of friends, have now united in this cause. You know what I mean? Talk about the enemy of my enemy being my friend, okay? So when you look at things like that, then you know that in Nigeria here, we cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. We should just stay focused on our internal domestic issues. And of course, that right now we have enough on our plate, Boko Haram and all of that. So we must not be distracted. We should ensure that we...
especially seeing as the government hasn't made any official statement in that regard, other than urge de-escalation. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Coming up, trial of Yelwata massacre masterminds adjourned till March 9. That story and more when we return. Thank you for staying with us. The trial of 9 men accused of masterminding the 2025 Yelwata massacre was on Wednesday stalled again at the Federal High Court, Abuja, following a request for adjournment by counsel for 2 of the defendants. The trial judge, Justice Joyce Abdul Malik, adjourned proceedings after Y.A. Hassan, who appeared for the 8th and 9th defendants, Saleh Mohammed and Bako Jibrin, told the court it was his first appearance in the matter and that he was yet to familiarize himself with the charges. The federal government had on February the 2nd arraigned the 9 suspects over the June 13, 2025 attack on Yelwata village in Guma local government area of Benue State, where about 150 persons were reportedly killed. The prosecution, led by Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi, slammed the defendants with a 57-count amended terrorism charge under the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. News Center's correspondent Joshua Imaraye was at the hearing from where he earlier spoke with us.
Happened to the first case is some sort of a similarity to what is happening to this particular one. Earlier on, before now, the courts had issue with representation, legal representation for the 8th and 9th defendant. Initially, the counsel representing the first defendant was standing for the 8th and 9th, but all of a sudden backed out, informing the court that he's withdrawing his legal service for the defendant, who he said has actually said they don't want his service anymore. Well, the court actually compelled him to stand for them during the time when a witness was brought to court. But this time, the case is different. When all parties announced appearances, they discovered that a new legal representation was standing for the 8th and 9th defendants. And this legal representation, who is the person of Y.A. Hassan, told the court that this is the first time of getting familiar or even appearing for this case, as he's yet to receive the case file from the former lawyer representing this defendant. The court, however, gave him, he actually prayed to the court to give him a later day to prepare, maybe just 2 days for him to prepare and get familiar with the facts of this case. However, the judge granted his request and adjourned also to the 10th of March for that particular case.
Let's go back to one of our top stories tonight, and that's the police committee set up by the IGP about the state police effort. Joining me for this conversation is former Assistant Director of the Department of State Security, Dennis Amakre. Dennis, thank you very much for being here. The committee, according to the IGP, is to shape the framework through which state police will operate. How much closer are we with this inauguration and this energy that's coming forward from the IGP?
Thank you very much. I'm personally very happy because it's one thing that we've been advocating for years. And I think concrete steps are being taken now to make sure that at least we have state police in Nigeria. The president have indicated that he's very, very much interested to see it happen. And then, of course, the new IGP, I remember many years back when he was on the same platform with me when we were talking about state police. And right now he's at the helm of affairs. So I think it's going to happen because it is something that should have been done a long time ago.
There's always this fear of it's being hijacked by state governments. If we have time, we will get to that. We've talked about it a couple of times, but I wanted to look at the Nigerian police itself. What will happen with this action? On the one hand, I mean, everybody's celebrating the fact that the IGP is inaugurating a state police. But what happens with the decentralization when it comes?
Now, the structure is going to be like this. The state police itself is going to be a different organization separate from the federal police. Because now we are going to create state police. What we've not been mentioning is that the remainder is going to be the federal police. And the federal police will, which the IG himself will be head of, will be responsible for federal crimes, while the state police as a whole will also be responsible for state crimes, and at the same time, you know, the normal murder cases, theft cases, arson, and all those kind of stuff. So these are separate organizations. And then, of course, in federal police, then it will be very distinct when we'll have EFCC, NDLA, even the DSS, you know, are going to be what will form the new federal police, operating separately, just like they have in the United States.
Let's talk a little more about the committee and what their task is. What are you expecting as an offshoot of their coming together? What results should we be expecting from this committee that has been set up?
The committee has a lot of work to do. The committee has a lot of work to do because they are the people that are going to birth the structure or the framework, so to say, of the state police. Now, remember, many people have said, oh, state police are going to be misused by governors and stuff like that. But it depends on what this committee of wise men, let me call them wise men, are going to set up. Because they are going to bring up the framework where that structure called state police is going to be almost independent in dealing with their state laws, because they are going to enforce state laws. And this committee has the responsibility of outlining all those parameters where they have to now, you know, go ahead and line it out. So there is no conflict. Yeah, state laws will be state laws and federal laws will be federal laws.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the line gets thin when it comes to money. Funding is a key issue here. Will the governors also continue to have powers in terms of what gets disbursed, or they will be funded? How will they be funded really to remove those powers that people are more concerned about, manipulation and use of state apparatus by those in power?
Well, the thing is that they are going to be funded just like the federal police is being funded. They are going to be funded from the state. And the state has the responsibility of including it in their budget. Now, let no state ever tell you, or governor tell you, that there is no money. That's a lie. And, you know, there is what we'll be hearing about it, security votes. And all these security votes are running to billions every month. Billions, every state. You know, so the governors know this. And the governors have been using that money as their pocket money. But I think right now, with the creation of state police, they will be responsible and they should be able to devoid that money. In fact, the federal government could do well not to pay the state governors the security votes anymore. It should be disbursed to the states as funds for state police.
I guess these are parts of things that should be worked out clearly before we go ahead and implement. Thank you very much for speaking with us as always.
Thank you for having me.
Still ahead tonight, gunmen kill 5 in DR Congo National Park headquarters. We'll be back with the details. The cashless toll payment policy introduced by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria at the toll gate of the Murtala Muhammed Airport is generating growing concern among motorists and air travelers. What was intended to modernize and simplify payment has instead led to heavy gridlock, with some passengers missing flights in the early hour of the day, which has prompted President Tinubu to order immediate suspension of the policy. News Centre's Emmanuel Oluboboku has details.
Vehicles now stretch for several meters, approaching the Lagos Airport toll gate, particularly during peak travel hours. Under the new directive, all toll payments must be made electronically via debit cards or designated digital platforms. However, slow network connections, transaction failures, and inadequate payment terminals have significantly delayed movement. Responding to the situation, the managing director of FAN says the agency is aware of the temporary challenges and is working to resolve technical issues.
This policy actually it kicked off in the middle of last year, where we started making some advertisements and also marketing materials to share that we will be blocking all revenue leakages within the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria at all of our own collection points to start with. The enforcement itself only started on Sunday. Obviously, this is due to a push from the federal government. The purpose of this exercise is actually to make sure that the federal government, one, receives all of the revenue that it's due to it, but at the same time to make sure that our passengers are still processed effectively.
For many travelers, the delay has come at a high price, missed flights and rescheduled journeys.
And this new development is causing hardship. We already are suffering in Nigeria. Then this is another suffering on its own. I could not drive I have to take bike. So I could not drive. I can't be in traffic for so long. I'll get to work. I will be stressing myself at work, then stressing myself back home, driving. So I have to take bike. You can see, I just came down from Okada.
With time ticking and flights scheduled to depart, many passengers now abandon their vehicles in traffic and resort to commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, to navigate through the congestion and reach the terminal faster. But today's alternative has created another challenge: skyrocketing fares.
Today's traffic now, I walk on the opposite side of the road, and it takes me an average of 20 minutes extra today. Last week, it took me an average of 45 minutes to 1 hour. Again, the cashless policy is good. The implementation, I think, could have been so much better.
I've been here more than 30 minutes, not moving. They have to find solution. This is very bad. If I have any emergency now, this is how I'm going to stay here.
Travelers are urging the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to improve network systems, add more payment points, and consider temporary alternatives. For now, getting to the airport has become a race against traffic, with many passengers leaving home hours earlier to avoid missing their flight. In Lagos, for News Central, Emmanuel Oluboboku.
The governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mufwang, has called for orderliness, continued loyalty and unity among members of the All Progressive Congress in Plateau State. The governor made the call at the just concluded APC State Congress in Jos. News Centre's Chizoba Nyowe was at the event and brought us this report.
Top government officials, former governors of the APC, serving and former members of the National and State House of Assembly, and indeed party stalwarts all converged on Jos for the Plateau State Congress of the APC to elect executive members that will lead the APC into victory at the 2027 general elections. The Congress ended with a unanimous selection of the executive members. Congratulating the executive members, Governor Mufwang urged them to be loyal to none but the party.
You belong to no one, and you belong to all. The joy I have is that the APC is a platform, but the bigger platform is the interest of the people of Plateau State. And therefore, where we are marching to in 2027 is that we are building a Plateau People's Party, but we have chosen the APC as the vehicle to drive it.
We've gathered here for a noble assignment, driven by shared belief and a commitment to our party's growth. With the guidance of His Excellency, Governor Caleb Mufwang, and all other leaders, you work towards building a team that will further our party's success.
There was a bit of a drama at the Congress when a delegate was said to have been replaced with some other person, but this was swiftly addressed by the governor, and the event continued without any more hitches. The returning chairman of the party pledged to continue from where he stopped in ensuring the party's victory during the 2027 general elections.
The responsibility you have bestowed on us is enormous. We do not have anything to say, but to assure you that we shall live to the expectations of the people of Plateau State. We have taken oaths this evening. We shall try to live by those oaths.
Do solemnly swear.
With the emergence of the new ESCO, expectations are high that they would lead their party to victory in the 2027 elections and ensure that Plateau remains an APC state. In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyui.
Thank you for staying with us. Away from our shores now, 4 children have been killed in an explosion in southern Djibouti, with authorities investigating the cause amid claims it was a drone strike. Public prosecutor Hassan confirmed the deaths in Dikil region of Afar, describing it as a tragic event. The Djiboutian League for Human Rights alleged the blast was a drone strike targeting nomadic populations, saying 2 children died instantly, while 2 later succumbed to injuries due to limited medical access. 6 others were wounded. An armed attack on the headquarters of Upemba National Park in southeastern Democratic Republic of Congo has left 5 staff dead. The park's headquarters at Lusinga in Katanga province was stormed on Tuesday by unidentified gunmen. Authorities say the assailants carried out a coordinated raid, killing 5 personnel on duty. The Congolese Institute for the Conservation of Nature confirmed the attack in a statement, adding that several pieces of equipment were looted and infrastructure sustained significant damage. Tonight returns with business, sports and entertainment news. To stay with us.
In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has added locally sourced, internationally refined gold to its foreign reserves, bringing total gold holdings to $3.5 billion. The bullion, refined to London Bullion Market Association good delivery standards, was purchased in Naira through the National Gold Purchase Program, supporting local miners and aligning with OECD and World Gold Council, responsible for sourcing guidelines. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso said the move strengthens reserves, supports macroeconomic stability, and develops the domestic mining sector. And looking at equities, the market slipped slightly as the all-share index eased 0.08% to close at 196,463 points, trimming market capitalization to 126.11 trillion naira and showing a cautious session of mild declines across most sectors. Now, we look at sectoral performance to tell you that the banking industry fell 0.45%, a profit-taking which resurfaced in Tier 1 names as we tracked, keeping the sector on the defensive. Now, insurance, however, bucked the broader mood, rising 0.33% as selective buying filtered into the space. Oil and gas, for the first time in a while, got the foot off the gas, slightly dipping 0.03% due to profit-taking for now, rather than speculative geopolitical disruptions, while consumer goods declined 0.86%, with selling pressure in major counters like Nestle Nigeria weighing on sentiment. Industrial goods dropped 0.03% as Dangote Cement traded largely steady but couldn't tilt the balance upward. That's it on business. I am Lekon Obanjo.
Now, in the world of sports, Rivers United Football Club reclaimed the Nigeria Premier Football League top spot with a 2-point cushion after their 3-0 win over El Kanemi Warriors in a rescheduled match at the Adokia Messiamaka Stadium in Port Harcourt. The Pride of Rivers ran riot, cruising to a commanding 3-0 victory, courtesy of a brace from Wisdom Samuel and a coolly converted penalty by Chijioke Mboma. With 2 games still in hand, Rivers United firmly have the title race in their own hands and are beginning to tighten their grip at the summit. Women's football now. Nigeria Super Falcons have returned home following uncertainty over the kickoff of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, as the Confederation of African Football has yet to confirm the tournament schedule in Morocco. The competition, initially slated for the 17th of March to the 3rd of April, also serves as Africa's qualification route for the FIFA Women's World Cup. With less than 2 weeks to the proposed start, CAF has issued no formal communication regarding dates, media accreditation, or host readiness. The team had planned to proceed from Cameroon to Morocco after international friendlies to begin a pre-tournament camp. However, unclear signals over a possible postponement prompted officials to alter travel plans and scale down squad arrangements. Now, South Africa's Minister of Sports, Gayton McKenzie, has confirmed that the video assistant referee technology will be introduced in the country's top flight next season. McKenzie made the announcement while outlining efforts to improve officiating standards and enhance the credibility of the domestic competition. The implementation of the VAR is expected to mark a significant milestone for the Premier Soccer League, widely regarded as one of the foremost leagues on the African continent. The introduction of the technology is aimed at reducing refereeing errors, improving match decisions on key incidents such as goals, penalties, red cards, and cases of mistaken identity, and aligning the league with global standards. Now, United States President Donald Trump has said he is concerned about whether Iran's national football team participates in the 2026 FIFA World Cup amid growing uncertainty over the country's involvement. Iran was the first team to qualify for the World Cup. However, its absence from a FIFA planning meeting for participating nations held this week in Atlanta has intensified speculation about whether Tehran will send a team to the United States, one of the tournament's host nations. The uncertainty comes against the backdrop of escalating tensions in the Middle East, including U.S. and the Israeli airstrikes inside Iran and retaliatory strikes to Tehran. The conflict has raised concerns over whether Iranian officials and supporters would be granted entry into the U.S. if the team participates. FIFA has declined to comment on the issue. And that's a wrap on Sport Updates. I am Udoka Njoko.
All right, now let's dive right into entertainment. Let's talk about a glow-up 26 years later. Magic System's 1999 classic Premier Gao, the song that had everybody dancing at weddings, parties, and school socials, has officially gone platinum in France. But here's the twist. It's the 2023 Afro House remix by Haitian DJ Francis Mercia and Zimbabwean Night Freak that pushed it over the edge in 2026. Now, the celebration, pure vibes, Marcia, Magic System, they gathered in Paris, proudly holding the plaque and, singing the iconic song and, celebrating with the lyrics as well. Now, from Zulu roots to global dance floors, Premier Gao proves some anthems never age, they just evolve. And now let's talk about some global music superstar. Bad Bunny has broken records with his Super Bowl halftime show performance, drawing over 4 billion views across platforms, according to Rock Nation. The achievement marks the highest global viewership for the Super Bowl halftime performance, highlighting the growing international reach of the event and Bad Bunny's massive global fan base. The show, known for its high production spectacle, continues to elevate artists on unprecedented worldwide attention, giving them the global reach that they deserve. Well, that's all on entertainment tonight, by the way.
I guess it's time to say thank you very much for joining us tonight. Please share your thoughts and your eyewitness report. Use the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on all social platforms at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube.